1973 Topps Pete Rose still pops up now and again. In 1968, Pete Rose won his first National League batting title with a .335 batting average that actually led both circuits. In 1969, he pulled off that feat again, an even grander style, raking in a .348 clip to lead off all of baseball. But in 1970, when his Cincinnati Reds made it to the World Series for the first time since 1961, and for the first time in Rose's career, Charlie Hustle took a step backwards to .316, just 8th best in the National League. Then things got worse in 1971, when his batting average dropped to .304, and then improved only marginally in 1972, when Rose hit .307. Now, in the 1970s, batting average was still a vaunted part of evaluating player effectiveness, and any guy who could hit .300 over the course of a season was doing something right. And if he could string together 2, 3, or 8 such campaigns in a row, he was a superstar. And of course, that's just what Rose was, a superstar of the highest order. Even so, he entered his 1973 season on the verge of his 32nd birthday and playing at a level, batting average-wise, a notch below where he had been a few years before. And a World Series performance in 1972 that saw him hit .214 with a strikeout every 7 at-bats in the 7-game loss to the Oakland A's, and the outlook for Rose in the new season wasn't quite as rosy as it might have been a few years before. Heck, things were even tough for Rose on the cardboard front. After 10 full years of nothing but posed shots, Topps finally brought Rose into the fold of players who were pictured actually playing the game on their cards. It was a trend that TCG had been leaning into since 1971, when Bud Harrelson made a cameo on his own card amid 4 other guys, including a young Nolan Ryan with his back to the camera. Remember this card, because it's important. And so is this 1973 Topps Pete Rose card, where the Reds left fielder is doing what he does best, wielding a bat. Of course, you might think that a player gearing up for a run at some all-time records, or at least some milestones, would warrant a bit more favorable depiction. But no, Pete popped up, probably in foul ball territory, using a yellow wiffle ball bat on that 1973 Topps card, and that image would stick. Maybe Rose caught a glimpse of this shot and was sufficiently irked. Or maybe he went on to work on his conditioning and focus on the off-season, though he was already known to have laser beam intensity. Perhaps he just felt more comfortable in his second season and left. Whatever the case, Rose stormed back from mere superstar levels to win his 3rd batting crown in 1973 with a .338, and nabbed the National League MVP award as his Reds won their 3rd division title in 4 seasons. Rose kept up his fiery rampage in the NLCS, where the Reds were heavy favorites to beat the Mets, and who narrowly squeaked into the playoffs with an 82-79 record. Alas, the championship series stretched to the full 5 games, and though Rose hit .381 with 2 home runs since he came out on the losing end. It wasn't just in the box where Pete mashed, though, as his hard, and some say dirty, base running led to one of the most storied bench clearings in the game's history. In the top of the 5th, Rose led off with a single and then took out Harrelson at second, trying to break up a double play when Joe Morgan grounded to first. Harrelson, who completed the double up anyway, took exception to Charlie's hard slide, and a 10-minute brawl ensued. It's a play and an incident that lives on even today when old-timers reminisce about the grainy film footage of our baseball past, and the debate still comes along with it from time to time. Was Rose playing hard? Or was he playing dirty? And that 1973 Topps card lives on, too, memorialized several times over, as the old gum company dips into its archives from time to time to celebrate MVPs or record breakers or pop-ups. Probably most famous and confusing for young collectors of the time of these cards was the card's inclusion in the 1982 Kmart set. Was it real or merely a blue light special? It's a debate as old as time, or at least as old as the Rose Harrelson footage makes us feel these days.